Okay, so here is my grocery haul for the day. I checked the flyers and our coffee was on sale again, and I'd probably gone through 2 bags of that coffee since I last purchased it. So I picked up 1 extra, and I just rotate these. Now this coffee, you can't store it long term, but as long as you can get it before the best due date, you're fine. Coffee has oils as well, so yeah, it's not one of those long-term storage unless you want to go for the instant product. And decided to focus on meats today, and I got another 5 pounds of ground pork. Got my work cut out for me. And okay, and on sale was the pork picnic shoulder, and Mark likes these ones with the rind on. I have purchased these at Costco before in a 2-pack, and he didn't like them because they removed the rind. So I continue to buy them where I do now, and they actually had them on sale today, so I picked up another one. And 2 packages of just chicken drumsticks. Now these are all inexpensive cuts of meat. Our picnic shoulder we roast, and then what's left over we turn into a stew for the next day. So now I've got my work cut out for me to section all that pork. Likely going to make the ground pork, likely going to make some meatballs with that, and to section off all those drumsticks into meal-sized portions. I've also pulled out of our freezer a cured pork cottage roll, and what I'm going to do is can that up with white beans. That's something that we have in a meal, and I suggested to Mark that probably we should take this one out of the freezer, can them up, and they are ready to eat meals. We do cook it up with white beans, and I'm just going to get him to cut it up into chunks that he likes, put them in mason jars, probably quart-sized mason jars, and put white beans in there, and perhaps some spices, perhaps not. I'll see how. I think we want to make it pretty simple, and just can it up and see how many ready-to-serve meals we can make with that. Okay, so that's my stock them up freezer meals and best buys that I could get for this week. Okay, so Mark noticed I have this single bag of split green peas, and I think I bought them one time because he wanted to do something with it and he never did, and so they were still kicking around, and he noticed it today and he said, could maybe you can can up some pork hock and split green pea soup. And I said, sure. I don't know how to make that though. He'll probably have to find a recipe that he wants, and we'll also make soup. So he did buy a couple of packages of pork hocks. That's more along the lines of what interests him. But if he'll eat it, I'll can it. I have no issue with that. So, and I'm sure I'll probably enjoy it as well. Okay, so yeah, stocking up the canning. These are going to be probably ready to serve soup meals as well. So anything that we can do to prepare and have food in stock is a very good idea.
I tend to cut this into pieces are about a 1/2 inch square when I can. Yeah, okay.
Okay, so Mark has portioned out 8 portions of the cottage roll meat, and he's asked me to put a sliver of bay leaf in each jar and some onions. So now I'm going to, I have my onions chopped up here. And so I started off by measuring a ½ cup per jar dry, because when I'm doing dry beans, I will use a ½ cup for pint jars. But since this is going to be a mixture of cottage roll and beans, I do want some liquid left in the jars, not just beans and meat. You also want some liquid afterwards. So I just didn't want the beans to soak up all the liquid and have it be very dry. And that is the reason I didn't bother or chose not to go with a dry bean, easier method of doing this. Okay, all my beans have been evenly distributed. I'm just going to fill this up to 1-inch headspace with boiling water. I've got my vinegar. Well, actually, before I do that, I should make sure that there are no bubbles. Clean the jar. Make sure that there's nothing at the edge. Okay, so there is 1 jar ready for the canner, and we're going to do this to all of them. And I asked Okay, so I decided to transfer my cottage roll and beans that I was going to pressure can in quart jars, and I moved them to the wide mouth pint jars. They've just come out of the canner and they look perfect to me. This is something that is one of those stick to your ribs hearty meals, just like chili. It is extremely filling, and yeah, Mark loves this. So anyway, that's our first 8 jars of this, and if it tastes anywhere near the same as what it does when we're just cooking it, I may make up some more, I may not. The next item on the agenda is the pork hocks and split green pea soup. Now Mark has decided he's actually going to make the soup, and when it's made, I will can it. Okay, so this is Tony from Her Homestead Skills. Hope you enjoyed this little video, and we will catch you on the next one.